Hi, I'm Jackie Santiago Nazario, and you're tuned in to the Ladies Power Lunch.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Grow Business Smarter, Live Your Optimal Life TV show. I am your host, Dr. Davia Shepherd. And in addition to hosting this show, which in my opinion is quite amazing, I also host a women's group called Ladies Power Lunch. Now, here's the deal, folks. Ladies Power Lunch is fully free, so I do invite you to come and join us. But here's what we're all about. Ladies Power Lunch is a place for women in business to find community, to support each other as we all grow. We really believe that there's no need to recreate really any wheel because anything that you're struggling with in your life or in your business, there is somebody who's already walked that path. And I bet you one of those people lives inside a Ladies Power Lunch group. She is going to be so willing and so ready to share some talents with you so that it can smooth your path just a little bit. We can all grow smarter instead of having to stress and strain and struggle. So our group is all about collaboration. Our group is all about supporting each other. And there's only one thing missing from our group, and that's you. So come join us. Just go to growsmarter.com/Facebook. On with the show. Today, our very special guest is Jackie, and she is a best-selling author, and she's also a second-time best-selling author with our Ladies Power Lunch anthology, which just launched, and it's called Live Your Optimal Life. Welcome, Jackie. Thanks so much for hopping on the show today. Can you share with everybody who you are and tell us a little bit about the amazing things that you're doing out in the world?
Thank you, Dr. Davia. It's such a pleasure to be here with you and to be a part of the Ladies Power Lunch. My name is Jackie Santiago Nazario, and as you mentioned, I am an author, and I also am a mother. I'll say all of those things that are also near and dear to my heart. I'm a mother to three children who are my world. I'm a very big family person. I am also a wife to a very accomplished man in his own right. I also am the CEO of a nonprofit in Hartford called Compass Youth Collaborative. I love giving to my community and being invested in my community. So I also am the commissioner for the Human Relations Commission in the city of Hartford and participate in a number of community service and culture ventures throughout the city of Hartford. So very invested.
I love all of that. And one of the things that I love to remind people about our Ladies Power Lunch group, of which Jackie is a member, is that women from all walks of business show up here. We have women who might be owning bigger businesses, women who might own smaller businesses, women who might be entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, women in corporate life, women in nonprofits, women who are even retired. But what holds us all together is this commitment to supporting each other.
And
So,
it's the
Jackie,
experiences, right? It's all the experiences that we share
yes,
as women, as mothers, as, community members, but also as entrepreneurs and nonprofit leaders, all of those things. And that's the beauty of having women coming together to discuss those things.
I absolutely could not agree more. So, just before we launched Live Your Optimal Life, you had another book that came out. Can you tell us a little bit about that book?
Yes. So I had the pleasure of also doing another anthology with very accomplished women and throughout the city of Hartford. And the book is called Becoming Her. Becoming Her is the journey that each and every one of us has had to make us who we are. The important thing about the journey is that no matter good or bad, we're learning and taking pieces of that journey, those experiences to help become her, who we ultimately become. And I love the name of it because we're always going to be becoming her. We're always going to be learning throughout this journey called life and developing into the people we want to be. And so in that story, I talk about my journey, things that have happened to me in my life that should have broken me, that could have broken me, but that I used to help me grow and to become her. And so these stories I've shared mostly because I want other young women, the young women that I work with, to take pieces of those stories and say, you know, Jackie's like me. Jackie has experienced a lot of the things that I have in my life. And if she can do it, then I can do it as well. And it's also an opportunity for those who work with youth or work with people to say, not to give up. We may look at someone and really think that we know what they're going on, what's going on in their lives or what's going on with them, and we really have no idea. Yet they are doing everything they can to show up every single day. And we just have to be there for them and pour into them so that they can use these experiences to build them up as well, and they can become her as well.
I love that. That is really one of the reasons why we continue to do the Ladies Power Lunch anthologies, because in sharing our stories, in sharing the things that we go through, we're very often able to support folks who might be going through something similar, or sometimes even the very same thing. And they might be losing sleep at night because they're unable to move through smoothly. And just being able to connect with somebody else who's been there and come out on the other side might be the thing that helps them to succeed. So I love these kinds of anthologies. And then you said yes to being part of the Live Your Optimal Life anthology, which is the one that we just published here with Ladies Power Lunch. And that is now an amazing bestseller. What made you say yes to doing that?
Living your optimal life, I think that's what we all strive for. And when you look at the amazing women that are participating in this anthology and the wealth of knowledge that they have to share, I recognize that this is what it's all about. It's all of us coming together to share what we've learned and sharing it with the world so that others don't feel like they are by themselves, like there is no hope. And so I decided to join this powerful group of ladies because I wanted to also share my story and talk about the optimal life. When I work with kids, we often talk about how we get there. And the kids, they seem like, you know, they have a few things on their minds. They're thinking, I'll never get there because, you know, I don't really have the freedoms that other people have. I may have some obstacles in my life that are seem insurmountable now because I just don't have the power or the lived experience to know how to navigate these on my own. And so to me, having a book like this shows the other side of it, what optimal life is about. And so once we meet the basic needs with these kids, once we get them to living, having their safety addressed, their sense of belonging addressed, that they can actually feel like their esteem is growing, that their self-actualization is possible, and that they're going to be living their optimal life. So I couldn't wait to share my story and what I've learned through the process in hopes that it may be giving someone a little bit of information that may help them to grow. In particular, I talk about the importance of talking to yourself with love and making sure that you are not catering to those negative Nancy's on your shoulders, telling you that negative self-talk and just beating you up sometimes. And I struggled with that for so long, and that journey has led me to a better place now. But we all struggle with the first thing that comes to our mind, and we're like, oh, of course it has to happen to me. When it rains, it pours. And we start, we have these things, this language even built into the way that we speak. It's colloquialisms that we use on a regular basis. How do we catch those? And how do we turn it around so that we can start saying, no, that negative thing did happen, but you know what? I'm going to have a fabulous day today. And there's nothing getting in my way. I know that when I am done with today, I'm going to feel proud of myself. I'm going to be more determined than ever. And this will just be another thing that I overcame. We have to begin to talk to ourselves like that. And so that's what I talk about in our book, The Optimal Life.
Like it means the same thing to everybody, but we're just using maybe different words to express that. And from my perspective, I often like to say that living your optimal life doesn't mean that you're driving a Maybach and that rainbows are flowing out of your behind. You know, it's not, that's not what we're trying to get at. When you say live your optimal life, what does that mean to you?
To me, above all, it means that I'm happy and that, I think not every moment is going to be happy, but you do have to do things that feed your spirit and your soul. You have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. I think at the very fundamental base of it all, we really have a hierarchy of needs. We have the need to feel safe, and sheltered. We have a need to feel belonging and love. We need to feel like we're accomplished, like we feel good about ourselves. We need to feel smart and, making sure that we're learning different things. I think that feeds our spirit. Sometimes we just like to look good, that's okay too. And most importantly, I think we need to realize that we can do things, that we, especially as women, we can do all the hard things. We can set our minds to accomplishing any goal and do it. And so I think it's about meeting those basic needs, but then like, what do we do to get to keep our growth going? Do we feed our spirit? What do you do? Is it meditation in nature? Is it going to church? Is it speaking to your girlfriends? Sometimes it's those things, and Ladies Power Lunch might be a place to do it, right? Speaking to girlfriends about your growth and your career. Is it making sure that you acknowledge that you're worthy and that you're lovable and that you're enough and that you're speaking to yourself like you are every single day, that you're looking in that mirror and saying, I've got this, because if, I'm making sure these kids get to school, I'm making sure that I show up as the best leader I can at work. If I am, being the best daughter that I can be, if I can do those things for everybody else, I can show up for myself too. And so I think it's all of those pieces. And the most important part probably is not to beat yourself up when you make a little mistake, or you just can't, do all of those things perfectly well, not beating ourselves up and sabotaging ourselves, but saying, today I did 3 things. Yesterday I did 4. It's a different day and it's okay. Give yourself grace for those things. So I think it's just ultimately at the end of the day, learning about the journey and being happy and satisfied with what you've done, challenging yourself when you have to, but giving yourself grace when there's absolutely nothing else you can do. So I think there's so much to that story, and reading Optimal Life, people are going to really get an opportunity to see how people are coming at it from different aspects: the spirituality, the sisterhood, the being good to yourself. All of those things really matter and are important day to day.
Tell us a little bit, Jackie, about your chapter in the book. What was the experience that you were able to share with everybody? So you don't have to give it all away, but at least whet our appetite a little bit so that we're going to want to just dive right into the book and learn more about your situation.
So I talked about I am love. And I am, that's the story, that how I named it. I am love. And I did that because I need to remember to love myself and make sure that I'm talking kindly to myself, that I'm honoring myself. There have been so many things in my life. As I mentioned in the Becoming Her book, I give a little example about something that has happened that really destroy your sense of self, and your self-esteem. And you really start to think, what? Life doesn't have a whole lot for me. This is the way it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to struggle, and those were the mindsets that I grew up with, and not having the experience of others to tell you, no, it's not, it doesn't have to be that way. Dealing with, poverty, dealing with other, challenges, it was difficult to see a way out. And so you begin to grow as a product of your environment. And I began to believe that I was just not worthy enough. And so every time a negative thought came into my head, I would be like, yep, that's right. And I would accept it, and say that's all I deserve. And that's okay. And you become, complacent in that place. And when I started not to feel happy and I started to feel like there was perhaps something different for me, it really took 3 steps for me to begin to change the way that I thought, but also the way that I was talking to myself. And so I had to become more positive in all of my in my language to myself. As silly as it sounds, standing in front of the mirror and telling yourself that yes, you are worthy and yes, you can, are some of the things that you have to do. Sticking sticky notes everywhere in the house so that I could get affirmations for myself. Learning to say thank you when I received a compliment, rather than, saying, oh, this old thing, like, it was on sale, girl. Like, all of those different things where we kind of dismiss what other people are saying about us because we can't receive the love even from anybody else. So I decided that it was time to receive love from myself, change the way that I talk to myself, and share that with the world. And so there are 3 steps in there I won't reveal here, so that you can read the book and read everybody else's stories. But there are some 3 steps that I think are critical to the way that we begin to catch and train our brains to think differently about ourselves and then speak life into ourselves rather than negatively to ourselves.
So this is a show that we like to think is practical. We like to give folks something to leave with that will help them along their way. So, can you give us some do's and don'ts from your perspective of what it kind of takes to live your optimal life?
Some basic things. Do get enough sleep. I think it's so important to take care of all of the things that we need for our physical body. And sometimes we compromise it for that reality show, or, something we want to watch on TV, or working a little later. And then we wake up not being our optimal selves. Something else that I've started doing is, in the physical body, is working out and taking some time to, even if it's just stretching or walking every single day. And I would say I don't have the energy to do that. I'm just doing too much. I'm so busy. I'm a career woman and I'm a mother and I'm a wife, and I just can't get that to all of that. I don't have the energy. Well, I'm happy to report that after doing it consistently for almost a year now, that I have more energy than ever because I've invested in myself, right? So those are some basic foundational pieces. I think, again, talking to ourselves and feeding our spirits, being around a sisterhood of people that can uplift you is so critical to making sure that you're growing. I think I always tell the youth in our program is, if the people around you are not lifting you up, if they're not making sure to challenge you, and there's no one, smarter, and you're smarter or better or more skilled or have something that you don't have, then you've got to increase your circle, bring other people in so that you can learn from them just as they're learning from you. So I think the network of support is so critical, and I've been doing that more intentional. As an introvert, that's really hard for me, but it's something that I think pours life into me as well. I also believe that we need to find time to ourselves, as much as you need it to be in a group. I think you also need some time to figure out what's important to you. I think I say, what does Jackie like? You spend your days telling everybody else, how to, giving them support, giving yourself, but you never have that time to just unwind and think of yourself and what you like, and meditate and clear your mind, do a reset. I've learned to do that as well as a part of my optimal life. So those are the do's. And I would just say the don'ts are exactly the opposite of those things. We need to make sure that we are surrounding ourselves with healthy people, healthy habits, that we're setting some challenging goals. I think there's something that I read recently. I'm fascinated with brain studies lately, and they say that the same chemicals arise in your body for fear as they do for a challenge, right? The same exact chemicals. It's just a matter of how you channel that energy, those chemicals. Because your body doesn't know the difference between, the fear and the courage piece. They're actually the same thing. But that courage, if you channel it well, you have that courage, you can take on a challenge. And that just completely defeats the fear that you thought about. So I think it's about really looking at those opportunities of saying, what's my next challenge? And believe it or not, writing was one of my challenges for me. And I'm grateful that I did it because I have found such wonderful healing in that as well.
I love all of those. I was taking copious notes as you were talking, taking care of our physical body, talking to ourselves in a positive way, making sure we have community, finding time for ourselves, and channeling or challenges to be something positive. Those are all really, really good suggestions for how we can move closer to that idea of living our optimal life. As you're going through your life, are there any apps, books, podcasts, anything that are coming up for you that you're thinking to yourself, this is really great. This is something that's helping me live my optimal life, and I'd love to share it with the Ladies Power Lunch audience.
Yes, so I did read all of the Becoming Her stories. I did read the Optimal Life stories and have found so much growth in those stories. I also have been looking at or reading Las Madres. It's a book by Esmeralda Santiago, and she talks about four women, the sisterhood. It's kind of funny that we're talking about it because it reminds me of the concept of the ladies' power lunch. But Las Madres are really going between two decades in their lives, going into a deep look in modern history of Puerto Rico, but also seeing how their lives, their secrets, their tragedies, all of those things have changed as a result of what they faced with Hurricane Maria and other things. So these women just share their stories and have been a lifeline to each and every one of them themselves. And that those stories have also been giving me life. I'm an Oprah Winfrey fan. Still to this day, I'm looking at, Super Soul Sundays. I do any inspirational things. I've been doing a lot with for work with Simon Sinek, and he has a book called Leaders Eat Last. And that was basically talking about, the gifts of leadership and how we help people grow. And I think that oftentimes we look at leadership and say, as a leader, I may be entitled to, I've earned X privilege, right? Or I've earned the ability to take a longer lunch or something like that. But really, in reality, with leadership, it really is about fostering equity, fostering a place of safety and growth for your employees. And it's not that you get more, you know, more exceptions to the rule. It's that you actually have more responsibilities as a leader. So I've been reading that as well.
I love both the books that you mentioned. I think we have to add Las Madres to the Ladies Power Lunch Book Club. Leaders Eat Last is actually already on the book club list for this year. And so we'll be reading that one coming up soon. And so, yes, Ladies Power Lunch, we do have a book club, and it's absolutely free for anybody who is a member of our Ladies Power Lunch to join. So come on over, growsmarternotharder.com/Facebook. One last thing, Jackie, before you go, give us a little bit of a homework. Like I said, we like to think that this is a practical show, that people can walk away from this show with something that they can start to apply in their lives right away. If people are going to take one thing away, what would you want them to do today to start living their optimal life?
I would take it right out of my chapter and just say that You are worthy. You are strong. You are beautiful. You are enough. Start acknowledging that. Tell yourself that enough that you can believe it. And then do me a favor and tell your sisters to believe in themselves. Tell them that they're beautiful, strong, worthy, and enough. And embrace them so that they can feel it, feel that it's coming from your heart. And I think the more that we believe in ourselves, the more that is going to reflect onto our sisters in the community and show them through example that they too are worthy and they are enough and they are beautiful and they are strong and smart and all of those things. And it can only have a ripple of positivity in the community. So that's my homework. Believe in yourself and tell others to believe in themselves so that they can accomplish anything they set their mind to.
I love, love, love that. At the end of every show, we pull a card. And as you were talking about, loving yourself, I just ran over to one of my card decks and pulled out The Love Your Inner Goddess by Alana Fairchild. It's a beautifully, the art is beautiful. The card that I pulled is the Madonna of Roses. So that's what she looks like. And I'm going to just share with you the message that she has for us today. It says, there's a way to be fierce that doesn't betray the kindness of your heart. When you know that to enable someone to behave badly towards you doesn't help them or you, you don't need to subject yourself to unnecessary guilt for taking care of yourself or fear that you aren't being compassionate. You are teaching yourself and others the truth that love is based in respect, and that trying to take what doesn't belong to you through any form of aggression or manipulation, seduction, or persuasion is neither loving nor respectful. Thorns are sharp because they need to be. They don't diminish the beauty of the rose, they protect it. What's that saying to you, Jackie?
I think there's always a fine line, right? Between being kind and believing in yourself and being boastful or arrogant or unkind. And I think there's a certain beauty and grace in being able to say, Dr. Davia, you look amazing today. And I love the way that you just facilitate this show so effortlessly. You are fierce and powerful. And say that about yourself too. Just say, Jackie, I really love the fact that you had the courage to come on here despite having all the jitters, not really liking the camera too much, but you did it. You overcame all of those fears to do something great today. You should be proud of yourself. There's nothing wrong with saying that. But if I say, girl, like you should, I've had this all along, like I've just, or just being boastful about it. It doesn't have the same energy. It doesn't have the same impact. There is a beauty in being able to say with confidence, but not unkindness, or boastfulness. So I think there is a fine line there, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to see the message reflected. That card is almost completely in line with what I had to say today. So it was perfect alignment. I appreciate you pulling it.
It seems like whenever we pull a card, it's always the right card for the conversation that we're having. That is so interesting. Jackie, folks are going to want to know how to connect with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on all the social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, but also you can reach me at my email, Jackie Nazario Motivation at gmail.com. Again, that's Jackie Nazario Motivation at gmail.com.
Beautiful. And everyone, you can get a copy of the Live Your Optimal Life anthology and read more about Jackie's story by going to growsmarternotharder.com/ticket. Jackie, thanks so much for being our guest today.
Thank you.
You are a pleasure to talk to.
Thank
And I
you.
hope we'll have you on the show again soon.
Yes,
Thanks, everybody, for watching. And I'll
take
see
care.
you all on the next show. Bye, everyone.